Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe, and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. In today's episode, I'll be talking about sadness. I've been talking about different emotions before, like anger, boredom, loneliness. And a friend was telling me this morning, are you sure you want to talk about sadness? You know, it's the festive season and people are looking forward to their Christmas. And, well, yes, because maybe Christmas won't feel the same for everyone this year. Some people won't be able to travel like they used to. Some people will be by themselves and will feel quite lonely. And then I must say that it's quite difficult to project ourselves in brighter days, in better days. So yes, sadness is a good subject for this time of the year. And sadness is an emotion that we have to deal with sometimes daily, but we don't always notice it because, like I always say, being in touch with your sadness doesn't mean you're a sad person. Doesn't mean you have a sad life. No, it's things that we hear around us. It's the people that we encounter and they tell us about their story. It's something we hear on the news. It can be different kind of things which trigger our sadness. Even if our life is not sad, even if we're quite a positive person, a happy person, we can be happy but feeling sad sometimes. And that's really important. As I've seen so many times that people find it difficult to mention their sadness. It's like if they start mentioning it, they're opening floodgates and they don't know where it's going to end. People will feel sorry for them, and it's a difficult one to tackle. I don't feel sorry when a client of mine speaks about their sadness. I'm glad that they've been able to mention it, to be in touch with their sadness, because usually it's been there and I've had a sense of it, even though sometimes at first they didn't really know what they were dealing with. Some people will express their sadness by being, let's say, angry. Sometimes you would say to someone, "Are you sad? You don't look well," and they would say, "No, I'm not sad. Come on, leave me alone." And because it's easier for them to show some anger than to admit that they're sad for something. Usually, when you say that you're sad, the people around you want to comfort you. And in fact, I don't know if we have to comfort the people who feel sad or the people who express their sadness. We can be there for them. We can listen to them. We can take them in our arms eventually if they want to. But it's their own sadness. And the best way to get rid of their sadness is, of course, to express it, to put words on it, and then eventually to cry. And even nowadays, it seems like it's tough for some people to just cry and say, "Yeah, I'm sad," and start crying. Some will turn it into a joke. Others, like I said, will get angry. Or they will just say that, they're just emotional today for whatever reason, or they didn't sleep well, or, they will pretend it's just, they won't acknowledge truly that they feel sad for something. We want to make sure it's our own sadness we are dealing with. Sometimes, if we're in touch with some people who are sad, can be our parents or our friends or colleagues, our partner, if they don't acknowledge their sadness, it can really be that we take it on board and we become sad. So it's their sadness. It's not ours. It's not yours. It's not mine. It's theirs. So of course you can have some empathy for someone who's sad, but don't let their sadness invade your own emotional system. When we feel sad, it's so tempting to reach for food or for alcohol because it's comforting and it works. In fact, you feel sad. It's often sadness is associated with loneliness. Not always, but it's often something, two emotions that kind of go together. But as I said, not always. And yes, it is comforting. So you feel sad. You heard some bad news, or even the times we're living can bring a lot of challenges, and some of them can make you feel sad. And opening the cupboard and go for food, or some a pack of biscuits, or some chocolate, or a glass of wine, or two or three, or a bottle of wine. Well, for a while, it's going to comfort you. But not for long, of course. It's just something that will help for a very short time, because then on top of your sadness, well, you'll feel bad. You'll feel guilty. You'll feel bad about yourself. I think it really helps to put words on your sadness, even writing them down, so that it becomes more tangible. I'm not sure about that word in English, but I think it's the right word. So it's not like a vague feeling or something you're kind of going through, but you can put words on it. But why is it such a difficult emotion to share or to be in touch with? Well, for many people, they feel like if they acknowledge their sadness, even for themselves, they're going to open floodgates, and it's like they're going to be depressed, and it's never going to end. It's like they've been storing this sadness for so long, they just don't dare being in touch with it and expressing it. But in fact, it makes things even worse, because you keep adding a layer of sadness to another layer of sadness. And it's a shame because it's not a bad emotion. I mean, it's not one which is very pleasant to deal with, but once you've dealt with it, it's usually gone. Not for always. I mean, sometimes it will come back, but at least you will feel a big relief. Whilst the relief that you may feel by overeating or drinking is such a short relief. I had a client, and she knew she was sad, but she couldn't really know what was making her sad. And it took a bit of time to understand that, in fact, she was carrying on her shoulder her own mother's sadness. Her mother went through very difficult things and a lot of traumas during her life, and her daughter never acknowledged this sadness, and then now it was on my client's shoulder. It wasn't her own sadness, and it was tough for her to let go, because somehow it was. Even though her mother was not alive anymore, it was somehow still some kind of a bond she had with her. I mean, unconscious bond, of course. So letting go with that was, in a way, letting go with her mother. That's how she did feel about it. And I told her, well, no, because your mother wasn't just this person full of sadness. She was, much more than that. And this bond you can let go, this bond that you have with her, you can let it go, and it's not going to affect the souvenir or the memories you've got of her. This is maybe going to sound strange or weird to you, but some people don't have access to joy. They don't have the right to express and feel joyful or happy. So it's quite tempting for them to express some sadness, to somehow justify the absence of joy and happiness. It's usually something that runs in a family. It's what I would call sad families where everybody or almost everybody is sad. How can you be happy when things are so wrong? How can you be happy knowing what your father has been going through? How can you be happy knowing what's happening in the world, what's going on in the world? I sometimes have clients who, during the sessions, they tell me things they've been through or things they're going through, and really sad and difficult things. But they say it in some kind of what I would call neutral tone. They don't express it. They don't say, "Well, this is terrible. It makes me feel really sad." And I'm always glad for them when they can at some point say, "Yeah, this is tough. In fact, yeah, I'm struggling with that. Yes, I'm really sad," and they eventually start crying, because I know they'll feel so much better afterwards. And even if things are changing, it's still more difficult for men than it is for women to express their sadness. They see it as a sign of some kind of a weakness, and it's a shame, really. And I'm so glad that it's changing, and it's okay for a man to say, "I'm sad," and to cry. Just to cry. As a young boy, I know that every time I was feeling sad, my mother was telling me, "Oh no, don't be sad. It makes me so sad when you're sad." And no good son wants to make his mother sad. So I learned how not to express my sadness and keep it for myself. I know that sometimes when I'm feeling sad, but I can't really cry, and it's not like I'm looking forward to crying every day, but sometimes I feel like I need to purge some kind of sadness. Some songs can help me in that way. So some songs that will touch me or make me more emotional will help me. For some people, it will be watching certain movies. For others, it will be reading books that will at some point make them feel in touch with their sadness. So there are all kinds of ways to help releasing the tension. In fact, it's the tension that is created by sadness. I know that when I feel sad and I cannot really put my finger on what is making me feel sad, I just go on my laptop and I find that song, I play it, and it works straight away. So that's the best way for me to unleash, let's say, the sadness. Sometimes a public sadness will help some people to express how they feel. Let's say if a very well-known actress or a very well-known singer or a public figure, let's say, dies, for example, you will see that a lot of people will cry about it. And their tears will not only be about that person, but it will also be tears for other people they've lost earlier in their life. Even if they don't always acknowledge it, it will be maybe the loss of their youth, and because a singer will be the singer they used to love when they were young. And so sometimes that can be a trigger and a useful one. So once again, even if it has a bad reputation somehow, sadness is not a negative emotion. It's not a nice one to be in touch with. But if it's there, you better first acknowledge for yourself that you're sad. Put words on this. I'm sad because of this. This is making me sad. What that person told me made me feel really sad. And then eventually, if you can, cry. It feels good. It's a release of that sadness. And then you won't need to overeat or to find comfort in food or alcohol. That's what makes us human, these emotions. Anger, sadness, loneliness, boredom. And the thing is that they don't vanish. If we repress our emotions, we store them, we stockpile them, and then it becomes more and more difficult and more scary to express them. So yes, it's the festive season, and I hope you'll have a great time and a great Christmas, and already wish you a very happy New Year. And if you feel sad, it's okay. It's fine, really. It just says that you're a human being, and that's a great thing to be.